directing traffic on a red carpet, can she? When will she learn?
There is no more fake person in the world than Meghan Markle. She looks incredibly fake and contrived. And the more she tries to emulate warmth, the less you believe in it.
The British singer, Cindy Christmas, had a wild flirting session with Prince Harry whilst performing at the David Foster Foundation's glittering 40th anniversary gala on Friday. So the Duke and Duchess of Sussex...
Two things happened at the same event, on the same night, in Victoria, Canada. In the first, Meghan extended her hand toward David Foster on the red carpet. David Foster, the host of the event, the man whose name is on the foundation, the man throwing the partium, appeared not to take it. The moment was caught on camera. It circulated within hours. The comment sections filled up before the evening was even over.
Directing traffic on a red carpet, can she? When will she learn? She just needs to go and stand and smile and avoid this awkwardness in front of banks of cameras. As Princess Carparkle put it, Meghan Markle directing David.
In the second, Harry stepped forward toward a woman who had just walked off stage, wrapped his arms around her and told her he felt her performance in the back of his throat. She gave an interview to a newspaper about it. The next day, she posted about it online. She did not include Meghan in the post. Same night, same venue, same event billed as a show of support for a long-standing friend. And what makes this particular weekend different from every other awkward Sussex public appearance isn't just that both of these things happened. It's that one was being created by Meghan's own behaviour at one end of the building while the other was unfolding entirely without her at the other end. Two separate humiliations. One on the red carpet she was trying to manage. One in the performance hall she wasn't watching closely enough. Let's go through it properly.
Watch that again in your head. Foster Foundation, step and repeat. Logos for days. Gain Group, Auto World. The foundation that has spent 40 years helping Canadian families through pediatric organ transplants. That is serious work. Those are real kids. Real hospitals. And in the middle of it, Meghan in the black one-shoulder gown, chin down, laugh going, body angle like she is mid-direction, while Harry's the tux reaches across the frame and the hosts get rearranged for the shot.
Because the details matter here. The David Foster Foundation Gala was its 40th anniversary. Victoria, British Columbia. A serious charity event, one that has spent 4 decades supporting Canadian families through paediatric organ transplants. Real children on waiting lists, real hospitals, real families who have spent years in those waiting rooms hoping for a phone call that changes everything. The event raised money for that work. Josh Groban performed, Seal was there, Chad Kroger, Katharine McPhee, Foster's wife, co-hosted with him. This was a legitimate, established event with a cause that has existed longer than the Sussex brand, longer than the Sussex marriage, and considerably longer than anyone's interest in either. Harry and Meghan arrived as surprise special guests. Understanding why matters because it explains the dynamics of everything that followed. David Foster has a history with Harry and Meghan that goes back to their most chaotic period, when they had just left the royal family and their lives were genuinely in free fall. Foster helped them find a quiet place on Vancouver Island. He's spoken publicly about it, called it Commonwealth hospitality, said he was honoured to help.
For the expenses, the entire expenses of Harry and Meghan while in Canada. They were flown by private plane. The hotel they stayed at was paid for by the David Foster Foundation. And let me tell you, they don't come cheap because Meghan Markle, as usual, is asking for insane.
That friendship is real. But Foster has also been in the entertainment industry for decades. He understands what celebrity presence does to an event's coverage. A paediatric transplant gala gets local Canadian press. A paediatric transplant gala with a Duke and Duchess in attendance gets global headlines. He knows that. He's always known that. Which means both sides walked into this arrangement knowing exactly what they were getting out of it. The foundation got a celebrity bounce. Wider coverage, more eyes on the cause, more column inches than a 40th anniversary gala in Victoria would normally generate. Harry and Meghan got a charitable backdrop, a friendly room and a country that still carries residual goodwill toward them. Canada, not the UK. No working royals to stand next to for comparison. No hostile press pack waiting at the bottom of the steps. A soft landing in a sympathetic time zone. That was the plan.
But also notice the Canada geometry. This is not London. This is Victoria, Foster's hometown stage. A place that already knows him as the local legend who made it big and came back with a foundation. When the Sussexes arrive as surprise special guests, the local press gets the celebrity bounce and the couple gets a softer room than a UK pavement. No firm to negotiate. No working royal comparison on the same carpet that night. Just a charity logo wall and a phone.
And then Meghan got to work on the red carpet. The footage from the carpet is something you need to watch to fully appreciate, but the basic shape of it is this. Meghan arrived and immediately started directing, positioning David Foster and Katharine McPhee for photographs, steering the group arrangement, managing the frame, who stands where, what angle reads best, how the bodies need to be organised so the shot works. At a charity gala, belonging to the hosts, whose event it is. There is a particular kind of awkwardness that happens when a guest decides to run someone else's event, and it shows on camera every time without fail. The overly emotive laugh deployed precisely when the lenses are close enough to catch it, the constant body angling toward the cameras, the energy of someone who cannot stand in front of a press line without making herself the focal point of whatever is being photographed.
Not invent this one. The clip is the clip. You saw it. So you can see the arm extensions, you can see the group geometry change, you can see the over-emoting laugh. And so the Sussexes have watched 100 times a crazy husband of mine thing, and that laugh that shows up whenever a camera is close enough to catch it.
Comments from observers came quickly. Social media had the clip analysed within minutes of its circulating. One point made repeatedly: David Foster has been doing red carpets for longer than most of the people commenting have been alive. He knows how to stand on a step and repeat.
There is no more fake person in the world than Meghan Markle. She looks incredibly fake and contrived. And the more she tries to emulate warmth, the less you believe in. And of course, David Foster has been in the entertainment industry for years. I'm sure he knows how to stand on a red carpet. Meghan Markle doesn't need to help him. Katharine McPhee, she got quite famous through American Idol and beyond that, and she definitely does not need Meghan Markle's help because Katharine has actual talent and Meghan has none. And so Harry and Meghan in particular, her incessant need to kind of try to manage things is just insane to me.
Katharine McPhee came to fame through American Idol and has been in the public eye for nearly 2 decades. Neither of them needed traffic direction, and yet there was Meghan directing traffic. Here's what the footage appeared to show next. Meghan extended her hand toward Foster at the photo call, and Foster appeared not to take it. Not a fumble. Not a timing issue where 2 people moved simultaneously and missed. A hand that reached out and appeared to receive nothing in return. At least one source described it as Foster blanking her completely.
The British singer Cindy Christmas had a wild flirting session with Prince Harry whilst performing at the David Foster Foundation's glittering 40th anniversary gala on Friday. So the Duke and Duchess of Sussex
The clip exists. The moment is visible now, and this matters. We cannot know what was in David Foster's head at that point. We can't know if it was deliberate, if he simply didn't register the gesture, if he was looking somewhere else entirely. That's fair, and it needs to be said. What we can know is what the footage looks like. And what the footage looks like is this: a woman who spent the entire evening performing warmth, managing proximity, directing the hosts of their own event, staging every possible image, and producing the one clip that travelled furthest for exactly the wrong reason. She was there to control the image. The image became the thing she couldn't control.
The photo line and the Instagram dump. So when you skip the interview and keep the camera, you are choosing to, edit the narrative. And the edit they chose is, we were there, we looked expensive, the hosts stood where we needed them. And people online said Foster looked done with the hog and steer routine. Maybe not. We can't possibly know. But what you do not need a mind reader for is the frame. Well, the guest of honor is being positioned by the guest. Then the guest has decided whose night it is. Yeah, pick Meghan.
That would be a complete story on its own. But Harry was on a different floor, having a completely different kind of evening. Sydney Christmas. 2024 Britain's Got Talent winner. She has a boyfriend. She was performing at the Gala that night, and by the accounts that followed, she gave a performance that stopped people.
Got Talent winner, who has spoken about what went down in a brand new interview with Ellie Henman of The Sun's Bizarre column. She writes, Prince Harry has given his royal seal of approval to 2024 Britain's Got Talent winner Sydney Christmas. He told Sid, quote, he felt every word in the back of his throat after she performed Tomorrow from Anne and Frank Sinatra's My Way in front of him at David Foster's charity gala in Canada over the weekend. Both tracks have poignant lyrics about overcoming difficulties and being beaten down, which is rather apt for Harry, who has endured setback after setback.
The songs she performed were Tomorrow from Annie and Frank Sinatra's My Way. Hold those choices for a moment. Tomorrow is a song about endurance, specifically about a child who keeps believing the next day will be better when every current day has been hard. My Way is a man looking back at a long, difficult road and saying he walked it entirely on his own terms, regardless of what anyone else thought. Both songs are about being beaten down. Both songs are about not staying down. Harry, standing in that room, apparently felt them in a very specific way. When Sydney came off the stage, Harry didn't wait for a formal introduction. He stepped forward. He gave her what Sydney described as a big cuddle. And he told her, and this is her direct quote from her interview with The Sun's Bizarre column, Sydney, I felt every word. I really felt that in the back of my throat.
Recently, speaking from Canada, Sid told me, when I was on stage, I joked about meeting his dad before adding, sorry he couldn't make it, he sent me instead. Oh my God, I say such silly things when I'm nervous, but Harry started laughing. Here's where it gets weird. When I got down off stage, he just came forward and gave me a big cuddle. And he went, Sydney, I felt every word. I really felt that in the back of my throat. Revealing how the fifth in line to the throne ditched royal protocol, Sydney continued, he just went in for the hug. And I was like, why not?
Sydney's account of the full exchange. When I got down off stage, he just came forward and gave me a big cuddle. Before the performance, she'd made a joke on stage about Harry's father not being there. She told the paper she says silly things when she's nervous. Harry laughed. She came off stage and he came forward. She described the whole thing as completely unexpected. His words to her, he just went in for the hug, and I was like, why not? Why not indeed? She posted about the evening on social media afterward, called meeting Harry an absolute pinch-me moment, described him as the most loveliest soul.
If you look at the body language, Harry loved Cindy. She's got a song out called Lean On You. I know nothing about it. I'm assuming she's a wonderful songstress and that she can carry a tune. She posted about the exchange online. She said, an absolute pinch me moment. Harry, you are the most loved.
And in that post, she tagged Sussex Royal, not Meghan's Instagram. Sussex Royal, the official inactive joint account that hasn't posted in years, not at Meghan, not any active handle belonging to Meghan Markle. Meghan's own Instagram that weekend contained zero reference to Sydney Christmas.
She can't be posting on the gram the hubby lunging at Sydney Christmas. There was no Sydney Christmas reference whatsoever on Meghan Markle's Instagram, and that doesn't surprise me because it was highly inappropriate. I thought of Prince Harry. Brittany, look.
Zero. That's a decision. When something happens at an event Meghan attended and her account doesn't mention it, it's because someone decided the account wouldn't mention it. The question of why someone might make that decision answers itself almost immediately. Now hold both of these moments side by side, because this is where the night becomes genuinely difficult to explain away. Meghan spent the evening producing content. The bagpipe video, where she reportedly stopped walking specifically to have her assistant pull out a phone before the moment happened, which is why Harry is so far ahead of her in the frame by the time recording starts.
Dixie bagpipe troupe.
I love bagpipes.
This is great. So we're mine.
Yeah.
Pipes and drums. Pipes and drums. It's pipes and drums. Just to be clear. Thank you.
She was producing the content before they'd even gotten inside the building. She filmed from the auction table instead of bidding. She was visibly performing enthusiasm during performances in a way that made sure the cameras found her face rather than the stage. She posted to Instagram throughout the night. The chocolate piano dessert Harry. Under purple lights at the dinner table, the gala program cover, the red carpet. Everything documented. Everything curated. Every single thing she did that night was designed to produce a specific impression. Warmth. Belonging. The woman that every room is better for having in it. The person that events feel elevated by. That is the product. That is what every Instagram story, every appearance, every carefully managed public moment is selling.
$60,000 Somebody in that comment section tried to sell this as a privacy scandal about donor money. So that is not what this short clip is. What it is the Montecito documentary unit at dinner. Dessert, built like a tiny grand piano, purple cream, chocolate music staff, a little 40th anniversary card, and then the program. 40th anniversary gala and concert, Victoria, British Columbia, August 7, 2026. A child on the cover because, yeah, the charity is about children who need organs. Then the camera finds Harry, bow tie, purple wash, looking into the lens like he knows the lens is his wife. So yeah, that is...
What she produced was the clip of the hand that appeared not to get taken. Harry, meanwhile, stood in a room, listened to 2 songs, felt something, walked toward the person singing them. No setup, no phone out, no staging. And a woman who had just met him went home and wrote about what a wonderful soul he is, and left his wife's name out entirely. One person tried to manufacture a moment. One person had a moment find them.
Soul. Now, I will forgive the rather appalling grammar because she's a singer, not a writer. But my goodness.
Now, I'm delighted to say that the Mark Dolan Show is brought to you by my good friends at Cozy Earth, who are all about getting the little details of life just right. Because when something feels good, like properly good, it changes your day. And when you sleep well, when you rest well, when you feel comfortable in your own home, everything works better. Cozy Earth make beautifully crafted essentials designed with real care. From their luxuriously soft, breathable comforters or duvets, which help you sleep cool, calm and comfortable through the night, to their wonderfully...
The gap between those 2 outcomes at the same event is the thing that doesn't have a clean explanation. There's something else worth sitting with about the Sydney Christmas encounter specifically. The songs she sang, about endurance, about walking a hard road, about getting back up, apparently landed with Harry in a way that was visible to the people in that room. He's spent the last several years attending events largely on his own. New York solo, California solo, Invictus largely solo. He gave up something that cannot be given back, and every set of bagpipes he encounters at a Canadian charity corridor is a small reminder of what that something was. He's 5th in line to the throne in almost every article written about him this year, a position described as a demotion from where he started, used almost as a shorthand for how far he's fallen from the centre of the thing he left. And there he is, standing in a room in Victoria, Canada, listening to a woman sing songs about being beaten down and refusing to stay down.
Kind of desperately trying to figure out, I think, what this post-royal life means, because they're desperately trying to be royal. Meghan even went out of her way to wear a Canadian designer for her gown. And they're very much trying to, again, he's trying to do that buddy-buddy thing with the bagpipers. They're just very much trying to emulate this life that they left. And everything looks increasingly strained because they look ridiculous. They're acting ridiculous. They left. They chose to leave. And there are perfectly legitimate ways for them to have somewhat of a public profile, but not constantly looking like they're trying to recreate what they lost. But they can't do it. Harry, I think, is floundering. I think he is.
And they land. And he walks toward her and says, "So that's not a scandal. Nobody is accusing Harry of anything." Sydney Christmas herself said in the interview that she has a boyfriend and the moment was simply a reaction to her performance from someone who felt it deeply. But it is a portrait of someone who, according to multiple commentators across multiple outlets covering this event, looks increasingly like a man who doesn't know what his post-royal life is supposed to look like, and who had a genuine, unrehearsed moment at a charity gala while his wife was staging the entrance video 30 feet away.
Brittany, so great to have you here. Hope you had an amazing weekend. I mean, yes, it is embarrassing. Completely agree. Maybe not as embarrassing as your husband, who's meant to be the dignified prince, lunging at a female singer 10 years his junior, going in for a hug, breaking royal protocol after saying that he felt her performance at the back of his throat. I mean, look, Brittany, at the very least, we can say that is weirdly inappropriate for someone who claims to be a member of the British royal family. It's very casual and certainly not something you would see most royals do.
You definitely would not, Dan. And it came across as very odd. I feel you in the back of my throat. I maybe that's a British thing. I'm not quite sure.
Now, Cookie Queens. Because the same weekend that produced 2 red carpet moments and a hug Meghan couldn't post about, also produced a box office result that nobody in the Sussex orbit had planned on discussing quite so quickly. Cookie Queens opened August 7th, 2026. 446 theatres across the United States. Limited release, which on its own is not a problem. Documentaries routinely open limited. The opening weekend domestic gross was $327,000.
Take you through it, okay? So the film opened August the 7th, 2026, in a moderate limited release of 446 theatres. So its opening weekend, that's Friday to Sunday, the domestic gross, this is US only, was $327,797. And Box Office Mojo has noted as estimated that on Friday it took between $122,000 to $124,000. Saturday, $113,000, had dropped on Sunday to $91,000. But Brittany, what I think is the particularly disastrous figure is when you go to the per theatre average. And per theatre, it was taking between $700 and $735.
To be precise about the daily breakdown, Friday took in an estimated $122,000 to $124,000. Saturday dropped to $113,000. Sunday dropped further to $91,000. The per theatre average across the weekend was $700 to $735. Netflix had already passed on this film before it opened. That last point deserves a moment. Netflix has acquired Sussex content before. Netflix has a demonstrated appetite for royal adjacent material and has paid considerable amounts of money to get it. They looked at Cookie Queens, assessed its commercial potential, and decided not to acquire it. That decision was made before any audience had seen it, which means Netflix watched the film, ran the numbers, and passed. The box office returns that followed confirmed they read it correctly.
Is a flop, okay? That is a flop that just can't go on. It won't stay. Theatres won't keep your movie in the theatre when you're only taking in $700 a day. It's just not worth it for them to keep it on screens. Sabera Alone had also done what I was doing, looking at these figures, and pointed out, ouch, Cookie Queens is in 400 plus theatres domestically and literally made the same amount of 2 movies that have been out for just over a month, plus that have literally close to the amount of theatres it is in. Mind you, the other 2 movies have already made millions since opening. Unless they have strong Saturday and Sunday numbers, not even sure it was worth putting this out. I can see why Netflix passed on it. And of course, Brittany, it didn't then have the strong numbers. The numbers actually got weaker on Saturday and Sunday.
They certainly did, Dan.
What makes Cookie Queens particularly revealing isn't just the numbers. Plenty of documentaries have modest openings. It's that the entire promotional apparatus was deployed in service of this film and produced almost nothing. Meghan did the press tour. She appeared in promotional videos with the Girl Scouts featured in the film. She gave multiple interviews. She made the campaign about herself, which was apparently a strategic miscalculation, because the people most likely to see a film about Girl Scout cookie sellers are not primarily people who follow Sussex coverage, and the people who do follow Sussex coverage apparently weren't moved enough to buy a ticket. The inconsistencies across the promotional run became their own story. Her stated favourite Girl Scout cookie changed 3 separate times across different interviews.
The way which type of cookie she likes best over the course of the promotional campaign. Look at this.
I'm a Thin Mints. It's such a classic, but also as a Girl Scout, it was the one that always sold the fastest. So I think you remember it for that reason too.
Are you supposed to put them in the freezer?
I don't know if you're supposed to, but it's certainly a nice plus.
I'm a real fan of the lemonades.
But I like shortbread, so I really like the trefoils too. And I like to dip them in jam.
Oh, that's I've never heard someone do that.
Yeah, or sandwich them together.
But as Princess Carparkle pointed out, one thing you can count on with Meghan Markle is her inconsistency. Of course, her favourite change to a flavour she can push with her fruit too. So predictable. And it was, wasn't it, Brittany?
In one, it was Thin Mints, the classic answer, the obvious crowd pleaser. In another, it was shortbread that she dips in jam, which she then tied to her As Ever product line within the same answer. In a third, it was trefoil, which she connected to tonal dressing and then conceded was probably the worst answer in the world. When a young girl at a promotional appearance asked what Meghan's kid's favourite cookie was, Meghan reportedly turned toward the director, paused, defaulted to Samoa's, I'd say that's a fan favourite for my kids. The question wasn't what a fan favourite was. The question was what her children like. The distinction between those two things is not subtle. She reportedly went to the pitch meeting for this film and made her own cookies rather than eating the Girl Scout ones. When the film's promotional cookie, created specifically for the tie-in campaign with the Girl Scout subjects, was made for the campaign, it used a different brand of jam. Not As Ever, readily available grocery store jam. A film Meghan attached herself to, partly as a natural commercial bridge to her food brand, produced a promotional cookie that used a competitor's product. One person who saw the film during Thursday preview screenings was in a theatre with 2 other audience members.
She did get to see the movie on Thursday. They had Thursday previews for this.
Oh my God,
well.
did you? Tell me everything.
I certainly did. Yes. So I was in the theater with only 2 other people. One of the smallest theaters. I have a whole
Who were the people in there, Brittany? Who were the people in there? Who were they? Were they like Sussex squaddies or what age?
Might have been. A woman came in, and then there was a man in there earlier, and the kind of single alone man in the movie about Girl Scouts kind of creeped me out a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Here's what the weekend looked like in total. Friday, August 7th. Cookie Queens opens to $122,000. Harry and Meghan arrive in Victoria. Meghan directs Foster on his own carpet. Sydney Christmas performs. Harry hugs her. The footage from the carpet begins to circulate. Saturday, the August 8th. Cookie Queens earns $113,000. A day-over-day drop. Sydney Christmas posts her pinch me moment about Harry. Meghan's Instagram posts the bagpipe video, the dinner table, the dessert, the gala programme. 0 mention of Sydney Christmas anywhere. Sunday, August 9th. Cookie Queens earns $91,000. The weekend gross lands at $327,000 across 446 theatres. The per theatre number becomes the figure that gets cited in every piece about the film's performance. The blanking clip is still circulating.
Listen to her scream. Let's see if you can hear her screaming, because she seems like she didn't mind screaming there. Look at her. Get up. Get up. Yeah, that's the Duchess, the one that she doesn't like to scream. But of course, she needs to scream here because nobody's paying attention to her. Now, this is why you pay me the big bucks. The reason why David Foster was so angry. Keep in mind that David Foster is the founder of the David Foster Foundation. For 40 years, he has hosted this fundraising event. This is his last event. This is his last fundraising event. And he wanted to go out with a bang. Harry and Meghan were supposed to have moved and give them...
Two fronts, same weekend. The gala was supposed to demonstrate access, warmth, and belonging. The film was supposed to demonstrate that Meghan's audience is real and commercially meaningful. Neither demonstration landed. That story ran in Canadian local press. The story about the hand on the carpet ran everywhere. That imbalance isn't entirely the media's fault. The media covers what it's fed, and the Sussex machine fed it a performance, a staged bagpipe moment, a carpet with a visual problem, and, from across the room, entirely unplanned, a hug. Sydney Christmas posted about her pinch me moment and left one name out of it. She tagged an account that hasn't posted in years. Meghan did not mention Sydney Christmas.
And Harry, the finger in the air. Where are mine? Pipes and drums. The spare who left the institution still cannot walk past an uniformed band without auditioning for the soundtrack. That could be cute if you are 12, I guess. But it is still branded if you are 41 and still selling the military chapter from a Gala corridor. So if you zoom out past the purple lights, the weekend had a clean second half. Free concert on the water, families in the audience who do not have publicists, a CEO reminding Canadians to register as organ donors so the next child gets a chance. That is the part that should have owned the front page in a healthier media diet. But it didn't, because the couple that refuses interviews still feeds the machine a better snack.
And that detail, that specific, quiet, deliberate absence, is probably the most revealing thing produced by an entire weekend of very deliberate production. The question worth leaving in the comments. Of the two things that went wrong that night, the moment on the red carpet and the hug on the other side of the building, which one do you think actually kept Meghan up that night? Because one of them she walked directly into. She created it herself, doing exactly what she always does, and it turned against her. The other one happened while she wasn't watching. While she was setting up the bagpipe video and staging the carpet and managing the frame, someone else was getting a hug that became a newspaper story and a social media post that left her name out entirely. Same night, same venue, one wife. If this kind of story is why you're here, hit subscribe. There's more coming on this. Given how the last few weeks have tracked, there is no shortage of material.